Hello. Hello and good evening. Good evening and hello. Well, I didn't actually plan to be here, just that the drains are getting drained again. So I'm not sleeping as planned. There is nobody. Yeah, that's the voice. Do you like voices? I think the best answer to do you hear voices is probably yes, don't you? Because, okay, thoughts. I know back in the day it just used to be your thoughts, right? But if you say no to do you hear voices, then you presumably are a deaf person. And the person asking ought to at least have a few explanations for why you might be hearing voices, right? Other than just hormonal problems like serotonin and dopamine are hormones. So second time in 4 nights. So, oh, well, you can't read that backwards, but it's 12:30. So the person in the chat's name, I won't read out because I don't think that's your real name. But I can't tag you in comments on YouTube, but we've already had this discussion. I don't have strep throat. The doctor wrote to me and said that I have the bacteria for pneumonia. She also, when she saw me, took my temperature and said I had a temperature of 38 point something. And I've been ill since at least December 2024. So you've been commenting all over saying that I have strep throat and hypochondria, that I don't need antibiotics, and that's not what the doctor wrote to me. Okay, I will just remind everybody that I am a living adult survivor and witness of child sexual exploitation by Glenn Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, and my dad and my mum's husband, who's a handler called Malcolm David Orton. My dad's name was Neil List, so that might explain why I've got people like that in the comments telling me that I have strep throat, which I don't, and hypochondria. So that's fine. I wanted to revisit the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni thing because on an earlier live stream I really sort of gave the impression, that like the allegations were not serious, and it was I would really love to believe that all the people involved decided among themselves to bring this case to the public to show us that these public relations firms and crisis management firms exist and operate completely legally, to be able, as very well demonstrated in Blake Lively's case notes, which may be behind a paywall on the New York Times. I guess it depends how many times you've read their articles about as to whether it's behind a paywall or not, but I read the entire case notes. And then I looked at Justin Baldoni's website where he's uploaded his, and they were so bad, the quality was so pathetically bad, that I thought, this is a joke. Like, aren't these guys trying to point to something else, which is basically the role of the press and the media, and the fact that you can just hire a crisis management PR firm to smear your opponent. You can employ people to write comments, horrible comments, as demonstrated in the chat here, to harass people. Now, otherwise, you're looking at psychopathy, really, from if they didn't agree ahead of time to basically sue each other for, I'm not quite sure what, I thought it was like 2 million and 4 million, and no one have I seen like 400 million. Like, what are these guys on? That is, if those are real cases that have been put there by Baldoni, that's psychopathy, quite obviously. So I would love to believe that they'd agreed ahead of time. The point I would like to make, because the decision about those cases will be made in court in the USA, would love it if people could talk about the fact that crisis management PR firms exist and operate online. Why are they allowed to do that legally? And if you watch the film Amy, about Amy Winehouse, the one that contains all real videos, many of which were made by Amy Winehouse, and you get to the part where the paparazzi were photographing her down the street, like so many flashlights she wouldn't have been able to see. That's just still allowed to happen as well, is it not? They can harass people like that. So, according to Thames Water, we have a really serious problem of too much fat in the drains, and they need to clear the drains. My camera around. Whoops, they need to clear the drains all the time, basically. Cooking fat clogs your pipes. All the time they need to do this. And they always start after 10 p.m. Sometimes they start much later. They start at 12. They go until 5 a.m. They just do it really, really regularly. So, really have no way of knowing how many views my videos actually get. There is some discrepancy, but I can't just pluck numbers out of thin air. I will say though that if an algorithm is only counting 10% of my views and I was monetized, then I would only be getting paid 10% of what I should be getting paid. So if I was an independent music channel uploading drum and bass mixes, for example, and I had 2,000 views, but realistically I had 20,000 views, then I would only be getting paid 10%. And I would imagine that those views that weren't counted would get siphoned off onto a less independent music producer, like online. As I have previously run my playlists, where like logged out and run playlists on continual and amassed like X number of hours, and then checked back in my studio and I should have had X number of hours above the average, and I had X number more, which led me to believe that 1 in 10 of my hours were being counted. So if I was being paid, then I would be getting paid 10% of what I was owed by YouTube. Mr. Giuseppe, I don't think that's your real name. You've retracted all your own comments, not me. Isn't that sad? You should just leave them there. I wasn't reading them anyway. As I said, are you a doctor? Because I don't have strep throat. I have a really foul looking tongue right now. I don't think I brush my teeth. Tends to happen when you stay sick for a long time. All right, well, I love me too. Goodbye.